What's up, you guys? It's Steve here, and right now, for everybody in the entire nation on a federal level, Congress is starting to take into consideration ways to send out direct payments to people to put money in your pockets, aka more stimulus checks. And this is your stimulus check update. Now, this has been coming up a lot amid everything going on with Russia and Ukraine, gas prices skyrocketing, supply chain issues, dealing with the pandemic. And take a look at one of the solutions currently being put on the table, you guys. Here's the scoop. The White House is considering sending Americans gas cards. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. They're saying, listen, we got to do something to help out people with this pain at the pump. Let's send out some gas cards. And we're hearing that more stimulus is going to be on the way. More aid, they're saying, is needed. Take a look. Dr. Anthony Fauci says officials need more than $22.5 billion for the pandemic response. And he's saying we need more. The president was saying that he wanted to see the same amount, and they're preparing legislation to send out more stimulus assistance. However, take a look at this. Nancy Pelosi says the White House should double the request and make it $45 billion for new pandemic assistance. So, you guys, stimulus, new phases, new waves of more spending is on the way, back on the table. This is being taken into consideration. We're hearing legislation is being drafted for more stimulus provisions. And this is all, as I said, due to what's happening with Russia, Ukraine, and the pandemic. As take a look at this, just coming out over the weekend, with 37 million in lockdown. The pandemic plans are under fire, and the Chinese ask, what is next? 37 million people in lockdown in China. Can't leave their homes, zero tolerance policy. You can only leave once every 2 days, one member from a household, just for necessities like groceries, food, any supplies you might need. So that is happening right now, and it's also happening in Europe, which they're saying anything that's been happening with the pandemic in Europe usually hits the United States just a couple weeks later. So they're saying, Americans, prepare yourselves. A new wave of the pandemic is on the way here very soon. And also, we're hearing that more stimulus might be needed as things are not slowing down with Russia and Ukraine. As a matter of fact, they're intensifying. Take a look at this article that came out just yesterday. Zilinski warns of World War III if Russia-Ukraine peace talks fail. And you guys, we're hearing that they have not had a lot of success. And take a look at this warning from Russia. Russia warns the U.S., we have the might to put you in your place, saying, listen, stay out of this. This is between Russia and Ukraine, and warning that they will try to put us in our place. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, you guys. But a lot unfolding. Doesn't look like things are going to be slowing down with Russia and Ukraine, which means gas prices are likely going to continue to creep up unless they can figure something out, which might lead to more need for stimulus provisions to help ease the pain at the pump, along with the supply chain issues, the pandemic, everything going on. But you guys, let's dive into these articles and get you caught up on the latest. And also wanted to say thank you guys so much for all the birthday wishes. I appreciate it. That means a lot to me. Also, consider joining my second channel, Steve Ram Finance. We're going to be releasing more content on there for those interested in learning about growing wealth, personal finance, flipping houses. You can see the latest flip house that we're working away on. I'll keep you up to date on that channel. But you guys, let's go ahead and dive into the latest economic news. And before we do, though, if you could do me a quick favor, just takes a second. If you appreciate the updates, don't forget, smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Helps out the channel a ton. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Also, leave your comments, share this out if you think it's going to help out other people. If this is your first time here and you like to stay up to date, totally free to do so. All you got to do is hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, and if you got any specific questions for me, shoot them to me in the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3. Best way by far to get a hold of me directly. But with that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and dive right in and get you caught up on the latest. All right, so first up, link in the description below to this article that just came out yesterday that says Zilinski warns of World War III if Russia-Ukraine peace talks fail. And you guys, as this war continues on, there's massive devastation happening in Ukraine. It's very unfortunate, and also it is going to be impacting oil and gasoline supply and everything across the world. And right now we're feeling it here in the United States. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zilinski offered a dire outlook on the war Sunday, saying that he is willing to negotiate with Russian President Vladimir Putin, but failure at peace talks could lead to World War III. And he said, I'm ready for negotiations with him. He said, I was ready for this the last 2 years, and I think without negotiations, we cannot end this war. If there's just 1% chance for us to stop this war, I think that we need to take that chance. We need to do that. I can tell you about the results of this negotiations. In any case, we are losing people on a daily basis, innocent people on the ground. So I think that we have to use any format, any chance in order to have a possibility of negotiations, possibility of talking to Putin. But if these attempts fail, that would mean that this is a third world war, the Ukrainian leader said. Now, Zilinski, heralded for his defiance amid Russian onslaught and his ability to rally his countrymen, said Ukrainians have demonstrated their dignity by fighting the Russian army and dealing a powerful blow. But he noted that dignity will not save lives. So they're saying, we're ready to end this. We want to negotiate. But they also have said they're not going to be giving up any land. And also, we received that warning from Russia over the weekend saying, listen, stay out of this. This is between Russia and Ukraine. Now, while all this happens, it is increasing the prices of gas and oil around the world as well. And so that's that pressure that's happening right now with that. But in addition to that, the pandemic is raging on around the world. It kind of feels like it's slowed down here in the U.S., but we received a warning from Dr. Fauci. No, don't get too comfortable. Mentioned this in my last video. It is very likely a new wave will be hitting. As with 37 million in lockdown right now, plans are under fire as the Chinese ask what's going to be coming next. And elderly residents there, they are wary of a jab even as Omicron spreads. And critics say that the zero policy is not sustainable, as right now they have a zero tolerance policy. They're saying everybody's in lockdown. You can only come out once every 2 days, one member of a family to just get necessities. And we're hearing that it's very likely that if this hits the U.S., we're going to need more stimulus provisions. Link in the description below. Dr. Fauci says officials need more than $22.5 billion for a response. President Biden's chief medical advisor, Anthony Fauci, said in an interview aired on Thursday of last week that officials need more than $22.5 billion that the White House had originally requested from Congress for pandemic response. Now, in an interview aired on NBC Nightly News, NBC's Miguel Almaguer noted to Fauci that the billions of dollars requested by the White House was a hefty price tag, asking if all that money was needed. And a lot of people are saying, yeah, do we really need to do all this additional spending, especially when we take into consideration the fact that over $800 billion is left over from previous stimulus packages, which we've heard is enough to provide two $1,400 stimulus checks, a fourth and a fifth on a federal level to everybody in the nation. They're saying, why don't we reallocate those funds to provide additional direct assistance, additional pandemic money for studying the vaccine and variants. But they're saying we need more, and we'll see what they do with that leftover $800 billion. And he said, I have to tell you that we need more than that, Fauci answered. Biden's chief medical advisor said that officials needed adequate funding in order to study possible future variants. As we're hearing, we might be getting hit with a new variant, a new wave here in the coming weeks, and they're saying there might even be more to come. We will not be able to do any kind of research to address the inevitable next variant if we don't get the funding that we're talking about, Fauci said. The top infectious disease expert made more regular appearances at the press briefings and on news programs earlier in the pandemic. And this comes after Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi and other Democratic leaders huddled with Dr. Fauci and other administration health officials on Thursday. So they all met together, and then we heard from Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, who requested $45 billion in additional funding. Take a look, you guys. Speaker Nancy Pelosi on Thursday said that she advised President Biden's administration to seek tens of billions of dollars more in emergency relief, suggesting that it will take more than $40 billion to meet the testing, vaccine, and therapeutic needs of the U.S. and the larger global community. President Biden had initially asked Congress for $22.5 billion in new funding to fight the ongoing pandemic, a figure that was whittled down to $15.6 billion in the face of Republican opposition on Capitol Hill. Pelosi on Thursday said that an even larger 22.5 figure was too small, arguing that it would provide relief only through the early part of the summer before Congress would need to approve more, saying that this is only going to take us out a couple months. And she said, I think that they should be doubling what they've asked for, because even when they're asking for like 20-something billion dollars, it was only going to get you through till June. And the comments came shortly after Pelosi and other Democratic leaders huddled on Capitol Hill with the Biden administration's top health officials, including Dr. Anthony Fauci. So you guys are saying they're going to need more stimulus funding, more spending to help us get through this. And right now, one of the considerations on the table, as you know, is, as I mentioned, gas cards. Now, also, Congress had provided an additional suggestion of legislation, which would be to tax the gas and oil companies, take the tax, which is going to be the difference of the average of 2015 to 2019 and where it currently stands, tax them 50% of the difference, and then give it out in quarterly direct payments, aka stimulus checks, to the American people. Now, this article says that the gas cards, it says the White House is considering giving Americans gas cards to help offset high prices, but face strong opposition from congressional committees, which question the plan's viability and effectiveness. Why it matters? It says the Biden administration is feeling political pressure from high energy costs, made worse by Western sanctions against Russia, and Democrats desperately want to offer some kind of possible response. Now, what we're watching, the White House this week is considering having the IRS send gas cards to Americans, a short-lived idea that some key Democrats vehemently oppose. So it sounds like this is not getting a lot of traction in Congress. We do have those other legislation items on the board, as I mentioned, for quarterly checks. Also, we heard economists proposing monthly checks. So we'll see if one of those start developing and getting more traction than this. Sounds like gas cards aren't making it too far in Congress. The idea came up as part of a broader package to address gas prices, which is still in its early stages, a senior Democratic aide told Axios. A House Democratic counsel on Wednesday laid out for the White House a list of reasons why gas cards would be a bad idea, and included the following. It would be inexpensive and poorly targeted, it would worsen inflation and wouldn't do much for lowering costs, and delivering the cards would be a slow process that would bog down the IRS in the middle of filing season, potentially delaying people's tax returns. Now, what they're saying, there's a variety of ideas that are currently being discussed to ensure that the costs of American families that they're feeling at the pump are going to be minimalized as much as possible. Now, however, gas cards being sent out to the American people is not seriously under consideration. It is not an administratively feasible solution, and the Biden administration is not considering this as a serious option to help out American families, Patel said. So you guys, as I mentioned, sounds like that this isn't going to get too far. However, there are other options that are on the table. We'll see if any of those get some traction. It says the big picture, Democrats in both chambers have been brainstorming ideas on legislation to lower gas prices after they reached record high levels last week. Other ideas being discussed include stimulus checks, as we mentioned, using more ethanol to lower the demand for oil, and canceling oil companies' federal leases that aren't actively being used, the senior Democratic aide told Axios. Various Democrats have also already introduced bills that would suspend federal gas tax, raise taxes on oil companies to fund means-tested assistance, or provide a federal rebate whenever gas prices get above $4 per gallon. And that federal rebate is stimulus checks. So they're saying after it hits $4 per gallon, sending out automatic checks. Let me know your thoughts. And the bottom line, Fed Chair Jerome Powell forecasted high inflation through the middle of the year, so gas prices will remain an issue in the midterm campaigns. So you guys, sounds like this is not going away anytime soon. We're going to be seeing how Congress responds to this. So you guys, that is the latest. A lot going on, I know. I will keep you up to date here on the channel as things unfold, as it sounds like we have a war with Russia and Ukraine. We're getting threats from Russia. Other countries might get pulled into this. We have supply chain issues. Gas prices are increasing, still dealing with the pandemic, and we're going to be seeing how Congress responds to all of this. And I will keep you up to date here on the channel one way or another, whatever unfolds. I'll be sure to report to you right away so you know what's going on. And as always, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. If you made it this far and you haven't already, don't forget, take a quick second, smash that like button for me. Helps out the channel. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. I really appreciate it. Also, leave your comments, share this out. If this is your first time here and you want to stay up to date, totally free. All you got to do is hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. If you got any specific questions for me, shoot them to me in the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3, and consider joining the second channel, Steve Ram Finance, to learn about growing wealth and personal finance. But with that being said, you guys, again, thank you so much for joining me. I'll catch you in the next one. Have a blessed evening. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.